6,686 individual sticks of product. Weed seized 13,339 packs of unstamped cigarettes. We seized, trying to look at this part. It's 152 containers of either wine or spirits. I'm sorry, of spirits alone. 198 containers of beer. The other tobacco products tax loss to the state of what we seized was over $74,834. And the cigarette tax loss was over $48,828. All of those incidents, and that was again October and November, all those took place in Worcester, Prince George's County, Baltimore County, Allegheny County, Wycomico County, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City, and Carroll County, and Cecil County. So it was just all across the state from that month. Since then, since the mid-November till today, we had another 17 incidents. And again, relating those, just to refresh everyone, the incident means probably someone was charged, an incident report was written. I'm going to start reporting to you the number of inspections we do too, so you can see that it's a large amount of inspections. And then at each month, it's a smaller amount of incidents that actually warrant the report and or charging. So, okay, so in our last reporting period, other tobacco products totaled 59,199 sticks, cigarettes, 1,004 unstamped packs. We had, interestingly, 10 containers of distilled spirits, but most interestingly, in Wycomico County, we also seized a still. So someone was making their own spirits. You know, years ago, that was not common, but fairly regular. And it's very unregular now, but now we got a still this past month as well. Tax loss regarding the other tobacco products was over $41,439, and the cigarette tax loss was over $3,487. Just those two reporting periods alone, the tax loss of all the tobacco stuff was, almost $180,000 just in tax loss. You know, so you can imagine that was an awful lot of product. And those jurisdictions, Anne Arundel, Harford, Prince George's, Wycomico, Baltimore County, St. Mary's County, Wycomico County, Carroll County, Washington County, and Baltimore City. So just really, again, all over the state. We have a variety of annual reports that are due every year, and from our perspective, that's going to. I mean, what I think you'll be concerned with is the annual alcohol and tobacco tax report, which you all should have received copies of. That went to the General Assembly, following all the requirements, as well as the governor and the presiding officers of the General Assembly. And when I say to the General Assembly, I mean their library. We're required to submit copies to their library. Interestingly, we send hard copies, 5 hard copies, as well as electronic copies. Also, we sent in our report on sales to underage consumers of tobacco products, which is information and data we get from the various local departments of health. We just collate that and submit that also as well. Those have all been done and on time submitted. Cannabis, well, before I get to cannabis outreach, also I mentioned to you that last week, Will Tilburg and I went before the CanMD, which are the cannabis growers and processors organization for the state, and made a presentation for them. It was really a very robust organization, well attended by their membership, and very robust, a lot of good questions. It was an opportunity for Will to talk about what the MCA does as regulators, and then from my perspective to talk about what the ATCC does as really not regulators of their industry, but supporters of their legitimate industry. What we do to support their activity by controlling as best we can the illicit operation and helping to funnel consumers into the legitimate, which we would say even potentially safer market that for them to be in. So that was really a good presentation last week, I think. And then earlier in the month, I reported, I went and met with the Maryland Beer Wholesalers Association, which are all of our beer distributors. Betty has a little bit of familiarity with them. We missed her at that meeting, but and just they had their annual meeting, and I went there and made a presentation as well and spoke about their issues for sure and introduced them to what's going on with cannabis. And it is interesting because we're starting to see some we're not seeing bleed over necessarily, but we're starting to see requests for bleed over. Cannabis infused alcohol beverages not allowed, but cannabis infused non-alcoholic beverages maybe. And so some of our beer wholesalers are being approached about potentially distributing non-alcoholic but cannabis infused products. So there's really a lot of tie-in there as well. And I mentioned I was going to talk about the inspections just to start giving you that data. We do a lot of inspections. And so what I'm going to give you each meeting is how many inspections year to date, not necessarily how many we've done since our last meeting, but just a year to date running total. So since July 1st, always be fiscal year, since July 1st, we conducted 696 alcohol inspections. And again, just to refresh you, those take a little bit of time. That's where we're looking at. It's generally of retail establishments, almost entirely of that. Could be packaged goods, bars, restaurants, anybody who holds a retail license, which are issued by local boards, but we support our local boards by conducting these inspections. And it takes a little bit of time because we go through invoices, checking product, and making sure that it's all following the flow that it's supposed to follow, that it's being obtained in the manner that it should be obtained, and that the record keeping is right. And regarding tobacco and cannabis inspections, which we kind of do simultaneously, because the cannabis stuff we're finding that's in our wheelhouse are largely being sold by people who sell tobacco as well. Not to say all tobacco retailers are selling it, but many of the cannabis people who sell cannabis products who aren't MCA licensed are selling it in stores that also sell tobacco products. We did 595 of those inspections since July 1st. And of those inspections, the tobacco and cannabis inspections, we've issued or left behind a cannabis advisory to 335 of those locations, which would tell you that it was probably out of the 959 that we did, about 335 did have some business with hemp, probably had it for sale. And our advisory does two things. First, it tells them what Maryland law is and what they're not allowed to do, or how they're allowed to sell it lawfully, which is to have a license from MCA, depending on the strength of the product. And the second is we updated that advisory in August. It's been updated to incorporate our operational changes as a result of the lawsuit from the Maryland Hemp Coalition that we're currently under the injunction of. So that still applies to us. So our advisory now also contains information about that injunction, what they're allowed to do to the extent that they're allowed to participate or continue operations. And that doesn't mean inspections stop. And it doesn't mean you can do things like sell to underage consumers. None of that. You may do none of that. It's simply if you're in business selling hemp products that meet the requirement, the THC levels that are subject to our purview, that you may continue to do that if you were doing it prior to July 1st until the injunction is addressed in some fashion, until it's resolved. So it's a lot of we do a lot of inspections. And from that, I'm going to jump into our HR. We received about 22 new positions on July 1st. 14 of those were sworn agent positions. And we've hired all but 6, I say 14 are new, plus we had some vacancies that we were filling. So we've hired all but 9 people in total on what we were able to bring on agents wise. Having said that, we've actually made job offers to 6 others. They'll be on within the next maybe 1 or 2 pay cycles. We expect 4 of those to be on. 2 of them are going to be staggered a little bit later, but they've accepted the job and will be on. So we're really down to 3 agent positions left to hire for, which we have lists available to start hiring from them as well. We have to stagger because, quite frankly, we're bringing a lot of people, a lot for us, and to be able to equip and even more so provide the training, the field training that's necessary. It wasn't practical to bring everybody on day one. We have to stagger that so we can keep them going through a series of on-the-job training. And we still have, I think, maybe 2 positions that we haven't onboarded yet that are non-sworn, but one of them has been posted, and one of them the posting and is open now. If you know anyone, the other has been posted and the posting's ended, and we have about 30 to 40 applicants for that. And one last thing I'd like to do, again, a moment of personal privilege. I want to introduce Mike Wynn. Mike is our comms officer now. He came on board with us the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and he is phenomenal. We met this morning with him. He's working on, he's our communications officer, but he's really communications plus much, much more. Many of you have probably looked at our very sad website that is static and doesn't do a whole lot. And Mike comes with vast experience of developing website, the front end of what the public will see, and the back end, which is the meat and potatoes, the data. He's done all of that. And this morning, we have our routine Thursday morning leadership meetings here. And Mike showed us what he's done so far. And you're going to be very, very pleased. He's dragging us into the 2000s. Right off the bat, I got a kick out of him because he was describing our old platform as, and Mike, I'll leave you to use some of the terms and phrases, but it was kind of fun, but antiquated. He didn't say barbaric, but it was words like that. And those were, he's going to take us out of those dark ages and make us much more modern. So what we're hoping is going to happen around January 5th, I hope that we're going to be going live, maybe a soft open, if you will, into our new website. That will remain under construction for improvements, but we'll start using that as our place. So to that end, commissioners, if you have a headshot that you'd like to have posted on, we'd love to have it because we're going to have room for that. So please send a headshot to me if you can, and we'll get that on board. We'll see how we want to develop that further beyond that. As I said, I'll take it in just a moment. I'll introduce Mike and ask him to weigh in. Last thing before I ask Mike to just say hello, is the Maryland State Licensed Beverage Association, the Maryland Beer Wholesaler Association, and the Licensed Beverage Distributors of Maryland, which are our retailers and our beer and wine and spirits wholesalers, a whole bunch of them. Will have their opening day event reception for the opening of the General Assembly, which takes place on January 10th. We have invitations for each of the commissioners. If you would please provide us with a mailing address, we'll send them to you. If you know that you will be attending now, also, please let me know that and we'll RSVP on your behalf and let them know that you are. If you know you're not going to attend, please let me know that as well so that they don't, create name badges and things like that for you. So if you know you're not going to attend, please let me know. If you know you are and you would like for us to RSVP for you, we will, and let me know that. Otherwise, just provide us through, use email to us and provide us with a good mailing address, and we'll send you these out. So appreciate that. So my last really great pleasure is to introduce you to Mike Wynn. We are lucking into some terrific people. And Mike is one of those, and we're just happy to have him as part of our team. What he showed us today is really going to bring us into a very modern era and maybe fulfill our dream of being the one-stop place. If you want to know about alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, provide education information, health information, product information, be the one place to come and get what you need to know for all these. And Mike is really taking the lead and bringing us there. So Mike, if you wouldn't mind coming on and just introduce yourself briefly to everybody and say whatever you'd like, we're thrilled to have you.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. And yeah, I'm happy to be here with the ATCC. I've come here for the past 10 years. I was a communications officer for the Baltimore Community Foundation, where I led the communications efforts on the visual and the content side. So my background started off as a graphic designer, but which started in the late 90s. But through the years, I found that I just needed to continue to add to my skill set just to stay relevant. But it was good for me because it allowed me to put my hands in everything and see the whole picture of how communications comes together. And when Tom Akris offered me the position, I saw a really wonderful opportunity, especially seeing that I have an opportunity basically to start from scratch and build something here. So as Jeff said, I showed a preview of a website this morning, and the joke that he was alluding to was, like I said, like our current website that was on the comptroller's office looked like it was from 1997, but after working with our current platform, I'm going to bring it into the early 2000s as a stopgap.
That's big.
Yeah. But so when we launched this version of the website, the purpose of this iteration is simply to get all of our content from the comptroller's site to our own home. And but rather than just dump everything and put a whole bunch of links, I still felt like we needed to have some sort of logic as far as navigation. But that's not where we're going to stop. That's just going to hold us over until we build our permanent website, which I'm looking forward to do, because it'll be the heart and soul of our communications plan moving forward. And that's it. I look forward to working with you all. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, you can just see our team is really filling in very, very nicely. And open invitation still to come by and see what we have here, what our office looks like. The chair was here not long ago, and I think he again saw that it was a pretty nice location. So we're very fortunate. We don't take that for granted. And in our selection of our teams as we're moving forward, we're making sure we take good care of the facility and the organization. Really want it to be something pretty stellar, and to the extent we can, something that's nationally recognized and certainly a leader. That's what we want. So enough on that, Mr. Chair. Right before I return it back, I just the holiday season is in full run here, and we'll be wrapping it up in the next week and a half, 2 weeks or so. So I want to wish everybody happy holidays from me personally, to each of you, and from the ATCC as well. So all of you, appreciate collaborating with you guys over the last year, and really big strides, unexpected surprises, and big strides we've made. So thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the end of my report.
Well, I know the other commissioners would agree with me that this has been a year of transition. You and the staff have done a masterful job of getting to where you're at now. You're building a great team, and we look forward to next year and seeing the stability and the type of leadership that you've shown this year continue into the next year. I know for the having sat in on some of the meetings as Betty has with wholesalers and retailers, that there are still liquor issues of concern. I know that we're going to see more issues on those individuals who are selling cannabis products, making sure that they're doing things correctly. And we want to make sure that our youth do not get their hands on stuff illegally. So it's going to be a big challenge. And we know that ATCC is up to that challenge, along with other state agencies that work in that field. So I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, and I'd ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Barbara?
Second.
Okay. Got a motion in a second. Eric. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried.
Merry Christmas.
All right. See you
Merry
next
Christmas.
year. Next meeting, January 18th.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.